Hey guys, I'm Sebastian at Performance Place Sports Care in Costa Mesa. We're going to cover tennis elbow versus golfer's elbow today. What are some ways you can figure out which one you're dealing with? And we won't necessarily go over how to reduce it today, but a lot of times figuring out which you have is the first step of knowing what to do. By the way, at the very end, I will cover, I'm going to give you guys actually a gift of something that you can use in your recovery process. So I strongly urge you to stay along to the very end here. However, we're going to use this band here first to show musculature in the area as well as things that cross in through those areas of the elbow that we're actually going to help reduce the pain with. So this is the area right here, and this is the inner elbow. Okay, this is my inner elbow. Right around here, this is the location for golfer's elbow, or what we call as medial epicondylitis. Okay, then we have the area out here, which is easier to see on the camera, right around the crease right here. I have a scar right around there, and this is the area of lateral epicondylitis or tennis elbow. Now, as we zoom in a little bit here, I'll start with the tennis elbow, and I like that actually the lighting is really good right here, okay? And so I'm going to squeeze my fist together, and you see the muscles from the wrist, from the fingers even. See how I move my finger, and it goes all the way up into the area where it basically points directly to the region where tennis elbow is most common on people. Now, it's important to note that people who have tennis elbow don't also have tricep pain, and they don't always have pain into the forearm. And the reason why it's important is because there are other things that can create outer elbow pain more so than just tennis elbow. It's also important to note too that numbness of the fingers in the back side of the hand or the front side of the hand don't necessarily have a relationship with tennis elbow or lateral epicondylitis. If this is happening to you, you might want to check out some of our other videos that we've done on pinched nerves of the neck, which is a higher probability of it happening right into there. Now, because tennis elbow is on the outer part here, and it's associated with the wrist and finger extenders, a lot of times the tests that you can do encompass basically going backwards and challenging those areas. So the first thing you can do, a lot of times we'll just have people kind of resist upward movement just like this. So I'm trying to push up, and then I'm trying to push down with the other hand, which is my load. Okay, this will sometimes create pain into this area of tennis elbow. Also, too, there's middle finger here has a unique relationship with the area too. That I like to have people push on their middle finger, not down. We're pushing down, but I want you to push up and fight, and you can really feel a nice strain into my elbow. See how it kind of flexes my elbow right there? And so this is a common area where people have tennis elbow, and this is a test that we can do. Now, there's other things that will create pain in that area too, such as twisting, okay? And something that we could use is, let me find something here. I'll find a water bottle because this is probably the easiest to demonstrate. And so something like going down in this direction, it's called pronation, especially with the elbow bent and going back and forth in a pronation. So you can use something like a hammer, you can use a baseball bat, you can use something heavy, like this is just my water bottle. And a lot of times this will provoke people's pain on the outside here. Now, at some point, someone might run into something like supinator syndrome or a supinator strain on the outer part of the forearm or the elbow. Yes, it could be that as well. However, this is just something commonly associated with tennis elbow too. So the last thing is gripping and turning. Because gripping requires some extension of the wrist, like if I were to grip as hard as I can here, and if I turn my wrist, you'll see it's actually cocked back into about a 70 degree position here, okay? And so this challenges those muscles too. So a lot of times people who are gripping objects, swinging objects such as golf clubs, baseball bats, the firm gripping aspect sometimes will challenge that area and start to really piss off the elbow too, okay? Obviously, you can go through a more thorough examination, but these are some basic things. A lot of times pressure on the area and kind of rubbing out these muscles in this area too can make you feel better, but for the most part, it can also mechanically kind of piss it off too because the area is already tender and you're doing more pressure to it. I guess the last part before we move on to medial epicondylitis or golfer's elbow is that sometimes people have a swelling here. Not always, sometimes. If there's a swelling here, probably an important thing to note is I want you to look at your hands. If you start looking at your hands, look for cuts, signs of infections, because there are situations where bacteria can travel up into this region of the elbow and create an infection into the bursa in that area. In that case, the type of treatment that we would do even in our office is not the type of treatment that you need. And you might need something a little bit more medicative route, okay? A lot of times it can feel hot and swollen there too. Now, medial epicondylitis or golfer's elbow is the exact opposite in regards to location, like I mentioned earlier. I'm going to go right here just so you can see. Here's the tip of my elbow, and if you slide right off into here, just like straight towards the crease, then you'll note that this is the area of medial epicondylitis or tennis elbow. Some people will have pain associated with contracting the muscles that go into that area. And so this is bringing the pinky finger across your face or down to the area. This is called ulnar deviation. And so this can create some pain in that area. Also resisted ulnar deviation, such as kind of holding across here and trying to karate chop across your body. That's one thing as well. Also, downward gripping. Like if I were to, actually probably doing it like this even. I've had people actually test like this. They make a fist, they cock the wrist, and they put it against their belly and they try to pressure against it. And so that loads all the musculature, the flexor group that goes down here. Now it's not going to be as easy to see as the extensor group, but I will flip back here real quickly. Notice how the extensors inserts into that area. In this side, the flexors insert into that area. Most people have a little bit more fat in this part of the forearm, so it's not as easy to see. But if you place your hands on your forearm, you can feel that as you wiggle your fingers, you can actually feel all these start to kind of move, all right? That's normal musculature, and it does go into that area too. Okay. Golfer's elbow, again, on the inner side, it can be with similar types of things that kind of irritate tennis elbow, and that's gripping, twisting, swinging, things of that nature. So although it seems like they're kind of the same thing, like the same things make it worse or make it better, typically treatment's pretty unique to the area, okay? Now, a couple other considerations with this too, I need to make sure to get my models, is that because we have the tendons that go into this area and the muscles that go into this area of the elbow, it's important to realize what else is there too. Because I think this is the missing part, at least with golfer's elbow, that people tend to forget, is there's a nerve that goes through there. It's called the ulnar nerve, and if I can get it to go kind of where it's going to go, it actually goes down from my neck through the shoulder into the inner part of the kind of bicep area, I guess, into the inner part of the elbow and out into the fingers. Earlier I mentioned numbness, okay? This is a situation where someone might experience more numbness or not. They can still have just inner elbow pain, but this this ulnar nerve goes right underneath or even between some of the muscles that go to the inner forearm. And it can simulate golfer's elbow. Something similarly on the other side is we have the tendon. This is going to be harder for me, but imagine the same thing, okay? We have the muscles here, and then we have what we call the radial nerve, which goes right directly past the area, right around into this presentation, right around there. And so some people will feel pain in the areas of this nerve in combination with tennis elbow type of pain. And so earlier I mentioned that you shouldn't feel anything in the tricep. And if your upper trap starts to feel tight or your neck, then commonly we're looking at something else other than the actual tennis elbow or the lateral epicondylitis or the medial epicondylitis or the golfer's elbow, again, the inner outer reverses. And so I hope that was helpful to you guys, at least associated with signs and symptoms. Things that are not associated commonly is usually numbness, okay, and electrical, pins and needles, neck pain, shoulder pain, or even anything above just pinpoint area of concern, or even down in the forearm. If you're having problems up into here or tingling and pins and needles down into here, this is probably not tennis elbow or golfer's elbow, and you just need to be evaluated a little bit further. Again, we're in Costa Mesa, California. I do have a gift for you guys. I want you guys to walk away with some type of how to do things next. And so typically in these videos, if you subscribe to the channel, we'll flash something on the screen here, which is, or in the link description below, which is the next step to take. Because I know a lot of you will watch this video and you say, "Good, that's great information. Now what do I do?" And I don't want you to have that experience. I want you to, rather than take bits and chunks of things on YouTube or Instagram, I want you to actually follow something. And so click on that. It's free. It's full of great information relating to elbow pain, and it'll help you on getting all the way out of this thing. So if you want to work with us, we're in Costa Mesa, California. We work virtually as well as in person. It's important to note that virtual suggestions and treatment for things like tennis elbow or golfer's elbow is actually very simple. And all we have to do is to show you what to do. And some people think, well, this is not good enough. I want to make sure to be there in person. The only thing that struggles a little bit is the examination process. But the suggestions really aren't any different, especially because a lot of times people can do tissue work on their own, or they can do the exercise which reduces their pain. All we have to do is show you. It's real simple. So go to our channel, subscribe to the channel, use the search bar and type up golfer's elbow or tennis elbow, and you'll find lots of other videos on these topics. Enjoy.